Doctor, please come fast. The patient from room number 306 is getting out of control. He just pushed two nurses and getting very violent. A nurse in her late 20s came running in the office of Dr. Choi, who looked up from the file that was scattered on his table. He quickly stood from his chair and went after her to look for the newly admitted patient. When he reached there, the old man poured her scattered into the places. That patient, about whom the staff was complaining about, was now piling in the corner, not looking at the nurse who is scolding him with a stick in her hands, and whenever that stick goes more close to him, he just flinches and makes himself more smaller every time. It's okay, leave him, Dr. Choi said, making the staff go back from the room. The sad doctor starts to cover the distance between them, but as soon he touches his shoulder, the patient hugs himself more, making it very clearly to the old man that it is not the right time to approach the younger. And he goes back in his office after asking nurses to not behave strictly with this new guy. He himself wonders that what happened to this guy, making him lose his senses at such a young age, maybe a bad childhood or any trauma that led him here. With that, a week passes, and still there was no improvement in that guy in his 20s. And it is what made Mr. Choi worried. If he could not do any improvement in this guy, then he will be shifted in the hospital, only to treat it way worse. Those therapies are mostly torture, but what shocked the most to Mr. Choi that Yoongi was behaving civilized with one person today, or a regular visitor in their hospital, Chung Hoseok. It was hard to see Yoongi calm around others, but he didn't do any violent act today with him, which gave him some hope. So you like kimchi? Asked Soseok to his no friend who nods his head. Then I'll come back here after tomorrow with kimchi. Okay, asked Soseok, collected his belongings from the side table, but felt a tug on his shirt when he tried to go there from there. Hey Yoongi Pungi, I'll come back a day after tomorrow, Hoseok said, caressing the cheek of his new friends, whose eyes were teary. Don't, Yoongi, I need to go to job as well. I promise I'll come back, said Hoseok, trying to detach his hands from his shirt. Hey, don't you understand? Leave him. That nurse again came with a stick in her hand. We scared the Yoongi and he jumped on the back of his bed and cuddled under his blanket, leaving small sobs from his lips, which made Hoseok feel guilty. He eyed to the rude nurse. There was no need to behave this much harshly with him, said Hoseok and hugged to Yoongi, who was slightly trembling. The sad nurse rolled her eyes and went from there. Yoongi, it's okay, she's gone. She'll not scare you from now on. And I'm sorry, but I need to go. Otherwise, I'll not get paid for today. And if I would not have money, then how will I come here and meet you and my Yoma? Said Hoseok, giving a side hug to his new friend. He wonders what happened with him that he is here at such young age. Your Yoma is here? Asked Yoongi, now peeking from the blanket. Hoseok hums and Yoongi starts to check something but finds nothing. Then he removed a bracelet from his wrist and grabbed Hoseok's hand and made him wear that. What is this? Asked Hoseok, looking at Yoongi, who found words to explain but nothing came out of his mouth. Hoseok waited for explanation, but the other seems to be confused, not saying anything. He has speaking disorder. He can't speak more than some basic word. I think he can, but he doesn't talk to anything. Maybe it's what he's doing from several years, so I think he can't speak for now. But if you keep trying to be his friend, then maybe he will open up to you, said Dr. Choice, and cares the hair of both. And your mother, she's doing better, says Dr. Choi while going back to his work. Hoseok smiled, but a tear fell from his eyes after getting some hope for his mother. Don't. Some trembling words from Yoongi made him come back to his senses, and he felt a pair of hands wiping tears from his cheeks. But Yoongi unknowingly hurt his eyes with his fingers. Hoseok quickly put his hand over his eyes with a hiss sound. His eyes were closed due to the sudden pain in his eyes, but he can see Yoongi crying in the corner of the room, asking him not to hurt him. It cracked the heart of Hoseok. What this boy suffered. After around 40 seconds, Hoseok opened his eyes, but rather than consoling his friend, he dashed outside. His heart is not that much strong to handle all of this. Why would he think that Hoseok would hurt him, and that too over a small thing? He just met this guy just in the morning, but he can feel a connection to him. Maybe sometimes time really doesn't matter. He knew that he is going to protect his new friend at any cost, but right now he needed to go at his work. With this, a day too much different from both of the schedule comes to an end. Yoongi even pulled hair of one of the nurse when she said that Hoseok is not gonna come again to meet a lunatic person like him. But nobody took a side of poor boy, and when he pulled her hair, the true nurse came again, and he found himself again shivering from his past childhood memories. Meanwhile, Hoseok could not even sleep a second whole night, wondering about what made Yoongi like that. The next day, for Hoseok visits comes faster than he thought, but not for Yoongi, who was literally counting every second to meet the light boy. He was looking same like that yellow red-haired boy whom he met once in the park. Yoongi can't remember most of the time of his life. Everything was so scary for him, but he still remembered that yellow red-haired boy. He was wearing very cute dress and pulled out a red heart from his bag and gave it to him. Yoongi was too much excited from this morning. Neither he troubled anyone from this morning as Dr. Choi told him that Hoseok will come to meet him. Yoongi was behaving very calmly, which surprised everyone. He doesn't look the same boy. Meanwhile, after meeting to his mother, Hoseok directly went to Dr. Choi's office and was contented that he found him on his desk checking some reports. Come, Hoseok, said Dr. Choi when he found Hoseok standing on the door with some difficulty. Hoseok comes inside the room and takes a seat in front of Dr. Choi. Hoseok, your mother is recovering, but we can't say anything, surely. Let's hope for better. Dr. Choi said with a small smile which made Hoseok chuckle. I came here to ask about Yoongi, Dr. Choi. Dr. Choi put the reports aside and adjusted the specs on his eyes. Oh, yes. Yoongi looks very comfortable around you. You are his friend? Asked Choi, some suspicious about the thing in a behavior of Yoongi around Hoseok. No, I just met him that day only. In fact, I wanted to ask about him, like what happened with him, why he is here. My child, he just shifted here not some long ago. But I got to know from his previous doctor, they said that Yoongi came there with a very bad state. He got hit by a car from some allied couple and they were managing all of these expenses till now. But the disturbing thing is that he has still so many scars on his body. God knows what happened with the poor boy. Sometimes he behaves so aggressively and sometimes he gets scared from small things. But I say one thing, Hoseok, that he is improving since you met him. Even he is behaving so calmly just because I said that you will come only if he will behave nicely. And still there is no complaint about him, said Dr. Choi smiling, which made Hoseok give a little embarrassing smile. He himself didn't know that Yoongi was this much desperate to meet him. Hoseok gave his greeting to the doctor last time before leaving his office, but he smiled a little when Dr. Choi said in middle, I cancelled the transfer of Yoongi. He is showing positive signs. Hoseok busted a wide smile and bowed to the doctor last time before heading to his new friend. When Hoseok went inside the room, he saw Yoongi dressing so neatly, unlike his last visit. Yoongi jumped on the Hoseok after seeing him, and Hoseok stumbled a bit due to the sudden weight on his body, but Yoongi didn't mind anything and was hugging his new friend tightly. You came? Asked Hoseok with his broken voice. Anyone can tell that how much hard it was this for Yoongi to even utter some word. His voice was jarred, making Hoseok sad. He tried to put Yoongi down, who was heavy for Hoseok to carry this much wrong. Hoseok tried to put Yoongi down, and that's when he accidentally lifted Yoongi's shirt from the back a little and scream left from his mouth when he saw a long scar on the back of Yoongi and so many dark spots around the scar. With that, he fell on the floor with his head hitting the floor, and Yoongi too fell on the top of him, but he himself got scared and jumped from now unconscious body of Hoseok. No. With that, he again cornered in the room. His sounds filled the room.